I'm running errands with my mom. Running, 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 running. I'm running errands with my mom. Running, 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 running. I'm running errands with my mom. Running, 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 running. Where's home? My mom. Where's home? My mom.
What on earth happened to Incredible Crew? Incredible Crew is one of those shows where at the time of it being aired, it seemed to have had all the key ingredients for it to become a successful live action show on Cartoon Network. It had the comedy, it had the music, it had the actors. The actors weren't green. They had some experience in the entertainment industry. They had the producer, and it just overall had the look. And with every episode being dropped, it seemed to have been gaining momentum and proverbially getting its train tracks moving. And as the show seemed to have caught lightning in a bottle, it just stopped like that. It just seemed to have ended before it really started to get things going. And it's just one of those things where time passes and you revisit a show like Incredible Crew and you're wondering, gosh, this show was so great. What happened to it? What happened to Incredible Crew? And so in this video, I'll not only be exploring Incredible Crew, what the show was, but I'll also be sharing personally some of the more memorable and bright spots of the show when I was watching it when I was a kid, and overall what happened to the show. Why did it seem to have failed in the eyes of many? Before we really get things started, I think it's important that I share how we got all the way to this point, with the golden years of cartoon animation seemingly changing as the arrival of live action content was brewing, especially for Cartoon Network, and how Incredible Crew would find its way in all this in 2013. Also, finding clean footage for the series is like playing Halo on Legendary with your younger brother. Basically, it's hard to do. So any footage you see will be from someone else or recorded from my monitor. With all that being said, Incredible Crew is an American live-action comedy sketch series created by producer and entertainer Nick Cannon. The episodes consisted of short, surreal comedy acts, hidden camera pranks, original music videos, and commercial parodies using non-consequential humor. Incredible Crew's cast consisted, at the time, of 6 young stars: Shauna Case from American Horror Story, Shameik Moore from Joyful Noise, who would then go on to be the voice of Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales in both the animated film and video game, Tristan Pastrick, who guest starred in I'm in the Band, Chanel Peloso from Level Up, Brandon Suhu from Super Ninjas, and last but not least, Jeremy Shada from the hit series Adventure Time. Cartoon Network Studios produced the series in association with Incredible Entertainment, which is owned by Nick Cannon himself. The show did have a pilot episode that aired in November 2011, but would officially air on January 24th, 2013, and run only until April 11th, 2013, with 13 episodes in total. Now be honest with me, do you truly remember what 2013 was like? One could argue that 2013 really was a revolutionary and memorable time for pop culture. The Miami Heats were white hot in LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade, in which they were going for their second national title back-to-back years. The Rock and Cena were going at it at WrestleMania 29 in their highly anticipated rematch from the previous WrestleMania for the WWE title. The 49ers played the Ravens at Super Bowl 47, in which we had the infamous power outage that seemed to have shifted the momentum in the 49ers' favor. And this was the year Colin Kaepernick was actually good at football. In the movie world, we will see a resurgence of the Man of Steel, of a new casting as Superman in Henry Cavill. Hunger Games was already in its second installment, and Disney's Frozen will make its arrival, which makes me really question where time went. Now, but the gaming industry. Now, in 2013, the gaming industry was preparing to evolve with the transition into next generation consoles with the emergence of the PS4 and Xbox One. And speaking of, absolutely one of the worst years of Call of Duty was 2013. Call of Duty Ghosts probably had to be one of the worst Call of Duties that I've ever spent money on. I spent 110 bones on the game and seasons past combined, and looking back at it all, I still want my money back.
Call of Duty, if you're listening, I want my $110 back.
But in the wake of it all was a musty, greasy, Michael Jackson stunt double looking self, 13-year-old Murray.
Oh my God.
Wow, how nearly a decade can pass by so fast. At the time though, the form of media that I was most invested in and was the most memorable for me was the cartoon industry. I'm talking about Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, and personally my favorite out of the three, Cartoon Network.
Don't flutter, you stupid dog.
This is Cartoon Network.
And I had the privilege of not only watching the different eras of Cartoon Network not only change, but progress into the next big collection of shows. I would definitely say the era I started watching Cartoon Network was the era in which you start to see it now plastered on t-shirts and sweatpants in the retail stores. And this era had shows like Johnny Bravo, Powerpuff Girls, Cow and Chicken, I Am Weasel, Dexter's Laboratory. These were like, some people see this era as the golden era of Cartoon Network. Then as I started to see Cartoon Network really sink its teeth in, it would add even more comedic, even more over-the-top shows with probably one of my 3 favorite Cartoon Network shows of all time. Ed, Edd n Eddy, Courage the Cowardly Dog, and Billy and Mandy. Those were the big 3. I would say those are the 3 pillars of Cartoon Network right here as far as comedy and just it was so good. But then I started to see more action-packed shows. More shows where the characters have an edge. They got an attitude. They're up in your face. Shows like Samurai Jack, which is now on Adult Swim, Codename Kids Next Door, Ben 10, Teen Titans. I meant the real Teen Titans. I said the real Teen Titans. See, there we go. I didn't know what those other 2 were. Whoa, hold up. No. Pause. Who's editing in this video? Who? First of all, no, we're not adding this. This right here is my baby. This right here gets its own category, its own video. This right here is in its own place. Okay. We're not going to approach this one right now. Moving on. But then there still was a great amount of shows that were still comedy heavy and really stayed true to Cartoon Network's roots. And these are shows like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, My Gym Partner is a Monkey. But then we get to this like real small era of Cartoon Network that got kind of weird and kind of scary. I mean, I'm talking about Chowder with its fourth wall breaks. It's something with fourth wall breaks. The fact that the character can talk to the audience that just unsettles me. Like the time Chowder grew a big brain and became self-aware that they were all in a cartoon, so he changed the channel with his brain power. I mean, he even made the viewer cry with all his shenanigans. And after that, once he realized it was a failure, he smashed his brain with a hammer to revert everything back to normal. Go figure. Or the time Mong Dol ran out of money, which ended the animation in the show, so the real life voice actors had to go out and set up an actual car wash just to fund the rest of the episode. I mean, whose car are they washing to be able to fund an animation? Elon Musk? Or the time Schnitzel tried to escape Andive and ended up meeting the creator of Chowder? I mean, does it get any more fourth wall breaky than that? Also, shout out to the voice actor of Schnitzel, my man John DiMaggio, played the voice of Jake the dog, and voice of Marcus Phoenix in one of my favorite shooters of all time, Gears of War. I mean, this man seems to not have one bad role. And then there's Flapjack. And looking back on Flapjack, I don't see how the creators of it got away with a lot of nightmare fuel that it gave a lot of us young viewers back in the day. For example,
I know what you want. String! Oh.
or this.
Grow up! I'm 38 years old!
Nope.
And obviously this.
She's here.
running? Why are you running?
I swear this show was demented in some way. So as time passes on and Cartoon Network starts to evolve again, and a lot of its OG shows are ending its last episode and ending its last season and moving on, we start to leave the 2000s, and then now we're transitioning into the 2010s. And all of a sudden, it's 2013, and the new batch of cookies are now ready to be served. And so for me, this new batch of cookies was absolutely Adventure Time, Regular Show, and The Amazing World of Gumball, or as I like to refer to it, the Big Three in 2013. These three animated shows absolutely occupied me all throughout middle school, and I thought there'd be no other show that would be able to captivate me like these three shows. If you look at the three big shows in the cartoon industry, Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, Cartoon Network, they all had this interesting dynamic of live action shows and animated cartoons, and the ratio seemed to have varied between whichever show you went to. Disney Channel, I believe, had the most lopsided ratio as far as its live action content and its animated shows, and I would say maybe the ratio is maybe 70-30. And I'm saying this because the live action genre absolutely dominated the Disney scene with just too many shows to name. But this was obviously because Disney wanted to push more young stars, being that Hannah Montana became arguably one of the biggest stars to come out of Disney. And then you move on to Nickelodeon, and see, the funny thing about Nickelodeon is Nickelodeon wouldn't be what it is today without its live action content, more specifically its game shows. Early on, within the debut of Nickelodeon, it was very game show host heavy, especially like I said, in the early years. Cartoon Network, on the other hand, really never embraced live action shows until CN Real came along, which, long story short, was Cartoon Network's attempt to compete against Nickelodeon and Disney in the live action genre with content of its own, with some pretty polarizing shows like Destroy Build Destroy, Dude What Would Happen, and many others. The move to live action rubbed executives the wrong way and felt Cartoon Network was alienating itself from its baby, which was cartoons, which directly plays a role in the fate of Incredible Crew that I'll touch on near the end of the video. So with that being said, after a period of time, we really didn't see a lot of live action shows until Incredible Crew came along. So going back to when I was 13, I just remember at the time watching a lot of commercials and promotions for Incredible Crew and just being super intrigued before the show even aired. And so I was heavily anticipating its first episode. And so on January 24th, 2013, when I sat down to watch the first episode of Incredible Crew, I'll put it like this: the show ended with me absolutely wanting more. I was so intrigued, I was so invested, I was wondering, like, dang, what would be the next skit they do? What would be the next music video they do? I'm so invested, I want to know. And so by the third episode, I would absolutely say Incredible Crew became one of my favorite shows of that year. Each episode started with a song, and must I say, one can argue that episode 3 had one of the best songs out of the entire series.
I'm running errands with my mom. Running. I'm running errands with my mom. Running. I'm running errands with my mom. Running. Where's home? My mom. Where's home? My mom.
Jeremy Shada absolutely was the brightest spot of the entire show, obviously because he was the voice of Finn the Human in Adventure Time, which made him already a recognizable figure. But I just remember watching and hearing the song, and it was so catchy and well produced to the point where I'd hear classmates rapping the lyrics the very next day in school. I just loved how Jeremy started rapping mid-conversation, and Shamika and Brandon are just in the background like, yeah, he just left the conversation and ignored us, but the song slaps. And he just goes out and does all these things with his mom with this off-putting swagger. They stop by the bank, pull out money from the ATM. Obviously, they go to school. And I actually forgot Shauna was featured in this song, and she was dropping bars in ballet class, so like everybody was on point. But then we get to the actual mom. First of all, she looks like the mommest mom I've ever seen. And so near the end of the song, right, like how in typical music video fashion, the rapper throws money in the camera, This woman takes out a stack of coupons and starts throwing it into the camera. So after that, she starts dancing like she's cooking while Jeremy and Shauna are cheering her on, asking her what is she cooking tonight. Like, I can't, like, it's so good, but it's so bad at the same time. I'd probably say my second favorite song on the show probably is So What, which would actually be featured in the last episode of the series, and this song will be sung by Tristan Patrick. And so the premise of the song was basically Tristan discrediting anything that was considered amazing or astonishing with a simple "so what?"
And not be impressed. I'm really sorry, but nothing can cut it. Anything you do, I'll just so what it. So what?
I got A's on my report card.
So what?
I found $1 million on the ground.
So what?
My dog can read and write.
So what?
I mean, Tristan Patrick, I thought played a good, goofy, obnoxious character very well. I think he played up to whatever spot he was put in pretty well. I mean, he didn't seem like too obnoxious or like he was trying too hard. Be honest, we all had that one friend who acted just like Tristan growing up. Next up, I would probably say my third favorite song was New Kid. Brandon Suhu, I'm sorry if I mispronounced his name, but I believe he was okay. I think he was trying to go for that, like that rough demolition kid, especially with some of the skits he was doing. I liked him, especially in this song. But as far as the song itself, it starts off with Brandon pretty much being called out by the teacher, and it all goes downhill from there, being that he's the new kid on the block. What I remember about this song most of all was that it was just so opposite. I mean, the only relatable thing he had was his phone was out in class and he got called out by the teacher for it. And a simple response to that was he didn't know. I mean, no one walks into the girls' bathroom and claims it's because they're a new kid at the school, so they don't know that that's the girls' bathroom. I mean, no one really does that. I mean, I walked into the girls' bathroom one time, but that was first grade, and that's only because I couldn't read. But yeah, no, the song was a bop too, and the background guys rapping with Brandon, you could tell it probably came from Nick Cannon's crew. I mean, it's just so obvious, but I mean, whatever was pushed to make the song better, I guess.
New kid, why'd you wear a tux to gym?
I didn't know.
And why's your milk whole and not skim?
I didn't know.
And did you just go for a swim?
I didn't know. Cause you're the new kid at school.
You're getting detention cause you don't know the rules.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Got him! Got him!
I'd probably say my fourth and final favorite song out of the series, I would definitely say was Bad Luck Rap. In addition to that, Shameik Moore was probably one of the more naturally charismatic characters in the show. It felt like whatever skit or song he was placed in, he did it well. He did it naturally. It seemed like it wasn't really trying. He was just naturally funny. So other than Jeremy Shada and his name value, I'd probably say I remember Shameik Moore most for just how he was in the show. Just check out this clip.
I'm gonna watch a movie. I watch my movies in 3 to the D, baby. Yeah. Wow. No. You like balloon animals? Boom. T-Rex, just for you. Wow. No. Wow. This is my jam.
You really shouldn't shake because it'll
Ow. Soda rain.
This has been Super Annoying Guy on a Plane.
Let me reiterate, this is the voice of Miles Morales. Let that sink in. The song begins with Shameik and Brandon playing a board game, and Shameik is about to serve some dice with his left hand until he is stopped by Brandon to be warned that rolling dice from his left hand will cause bad luck. Shameik is skeptical about it all and proceeds to roll the dice anyways, thinking he can prove that bad luck doesn't exist, and you might know what happens next. And so Tristan and Shauna spawn in with Shameik to try and prove bad luck doesn't exist, and they all do so by trying all the different superstitious tropes in order to prove its lack of power. Tristan starts by spilling salt all over the place, which of course opens a crack in the ground that he falls into. I guess you can say that made him salty. Next, Shauna breaks not one, but 2 mirrors, which makes God angry, and she gets zapped for it. And what's with Shauna getting zapped in this show? At this point, Shameik is trying to convince Brandon to join, and Brandon is just visibly concerned the whole time. And who wouldn't be? I mean, if you saw your friends getting bodied for trying bad luck, I don't blame him. So Shameik goes on and walks under this random ladder in the middle of the dang street. And after he breaks his back off camera.
All of my back is broken right now. Bad luck is real.
Fatality.
Not every song was my favorite, but there are definitely some honorable mentions that I'll give some credit to. The song Super Duper Gross Things was a song I enjoyed because Shauna basically listed all the relatable things she thought that was super duper gross. Like using the bathroom at a water park, which is basically the equivalent to picking up a lollipop off the carpet, or things like moldy bread, toe jam, someone picking a scab, and unfinished basements. All pretty relatable stuff. Another one I liked was Heavy Metal Science Fair by Tristan, not because of what the science fair was, although they did have some pretty cool creations, I can't lie. But Tristan was more so the highlight of it all because of his just over the top, super enthusiastic attitude about how cool science was, along with a heavy metal beat to add on more to the hype. I mean, now looking back at all the songs, I mean, it makes it all the more obvious that Nick Cannon absolutely played a big producing hand in a lot of the songs, which really reveals why they were so catchy and why they flowed well and had a nice beat to it. What kind of makes it funny and ironic being that Nick Cannon really didn't have all that of a successful rap career. And the songs were very well written, as I said, very catchy, had a nice beat to it, and it made you feel like you were a part of the show in a sense with just how goofy it was. The next highlight of the show were the comedy shorts and skits, which were clips that were peppered throughout the show that had the characters playing a role, character, or just doing some stunt of sorts. Some were long, some were short, some were funny, some were stupid, some were, well, weird, and some were absolutely disgusting, but entertaining nonetheless. Some of the ones I enjoyed, regardless of its cheesiness, were a lot of the play on word skits they did, like you've seen earlier, such as lunch boxing, where Shameik literally attached lunch boxes to his boxing gloves and was working on a punching bag, and the food was flying out of the boxes with each punch. Another one I showed earlier was Pizza Party, and it wasn't your typical pizza party you get when your class collects enough pennies for a fundraiser. At least that's what oh well, actually, I never got that in school, but anywho. No, Brandon Shameik dressed up as the pizza and started dancing like it was a legit party. Another one was when Shameik threw a football at Brandon, but he dropped it, in which Shameik proceeded to call him Butterfingers, only to reveal that he legit had sticks of butter attached to his fingers, and he ate it. Gross. There were some more elaborate skits they did, like the super complicated board game that Shameik, Brandon, Shauna, and Tristan played as the narrator was explaining the game. The rules got more convoluted and complicated as it went on, to the point where all 4 of them lost interest in the game. Or when Jeremy went to a China shop and bought some mysterious controller for the low price of $25, he then goes home to test it out and thinks that the controller is a ripoff, only to see that the inputs in the controller allows him to control his sister. She can move, punch, kick, has super strength, the whole 9 yards. The two run into some bullies, and of course he uses his sister to beat them up like it's Mortal Kombat. The girl literally punches through a rock and even throws a fireball. Jamie then realizes that it's wrong to control his sister, he wants her back, yada yada yada. He then goes back to the shop to request a refund. And so he gets a refund. A partial one. Ha ha! Mr. Oji-san, you slick man, you. I know, they're all cheesy for the most part, and it really doesn't take much to come up with this type of stuff, but at the time, it made me giggle. And I thought, oh hey, that's pretty funny, or hey, that's pretty cool. Why didn't I think of that? That's a different way to look at a pizza party. It's stupid stuff like this that I thought made the show fun. Not everything has to have some sort of sentimental purpose with thought-provoking content. To me, it looked like everybody was having fun, and that matters to me. When an actor or performer is having fun, it can sprout really good performances. And remember, it's a teen show, for crying out loud. It's meant to be fun and stupid. Because, well, teens are fun and stupid. But as for why the show ended so soon, simply put, the show was a failure in the eyes of many of the executives and producers over at Cartoon Network. Regardless of the fact that each episode would draw in over 1 million viewers each week, regardless of the fact that the show will be nominated at the Young Artist Award for Outstanding Young Assembly in a TV series, regardless of the fact that the show would be spearheaded by Nick Cannon, which, you could either view that as an advantage or a disadvantage. And regardless of the fact that someone like me is making this video to tell you why I thought Incredible Crew was so amazing, it would not stop the show from not only receiving negative reviews, but also receiving a 3.7 on IMDb's website currently. Just like CN Real, being that Incredible Crew was a live action sketch and not an animated one, it really did not fit the formula that, of classic cartoon animation that got Cartoon Network to the dance. And so because of that, Cartoon Network suffered for it. And one can say that Cartoon Network had no business trying to compete with Nickelodeon and Disney Channel with live action content. That's not what necessarily got it as that big 3 in kids shows. The attempt was admirable. I can respect a show for trying something different. But regardless of it being admirable, it was still ill-advised. If I haven't made this clear already, I just want to make it known that Incredible Crew was not a perfect show. I'm not saying it was the greatest show or greatest sitcom ever made. I just want to point that out if that's what it's coming off as. But overall, Incredible Crew was, as I said, one of those shows that felt like it had everything needed to be successful and for it to have longevity. It had everything needed to mesmerize a hairball like me at 13 years old. And as I said, I do appreciate Cartoon Network for taking a chance with something like this. But as I now grow and mature and am now able to look back on it all, I can definitely say the biggest thing that hurt the show was the channel it was on. Cartoon Network did not need Incredible Crew. If Incredible Crew was on Nickelodeon or even Disney Channel, I would argue it would have been received more positively than it being on somewhere where it's literally known for making, get this, and the fact that Incredible Crew was able to insert itself as that 4th show that not only made my childhood but other people's childhood memorable and fun, it's truly incredible.
He said it.
That's all I got for you guys here today. Let me know what you guys think about Incredible Crew. Being in 2013, did you guys think Incredible Crew was a good show? Did you like it? Did you not like it? I would definitely love to know your guys' comments down below. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notifications, please, so you know when the next time I'll be dropping Murrayvation content. And as I said, thank you guys for watching. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video. And don't hate, motivate.
It's a difference. I'm slicker than